Yellowstone was never meant to end this way. Yellowstone, it really deserves its time to be talked about. An all-time great in the Western genre? That won't be wrong to say. 5 seasons of gripping drama, cowboy action, and accurate historical events were an absolute treat for fans throughout its run. Yellowstone finally came to an end this year, but not how its fans would have expected. Let's see exactly how Yellowstone bid farewell to our television screens and how its stars felt saying goodbye. Cosners' final outing and goodbye to Yellowstone. Several rumors about Yellowstone suggested that Kevin Costner had quit the critically acclaimed series because of his ego trip with the whole crew. As Costner is quite cooperative as an actor, this news wasn't really credible, to be fair. Costner has since denied these rumors. He said that he enjoyed the project, the cast and crew, and the show itself. Being such an integral part of the show, it didn't make sense for him to have any ill intentions towards it. Costner gave around 5 years or maybe even more to develop Yellowstone. How could he have jumped ship when the show was about to have such a solid ending? For Taylor Sheridan's Paramount drama, Costner eventually originated the lead of Tate Dutton and remained with the series for 5 seasons before rumors of his exiting the show became regular tabloid news. Many people said that the Oscar winner was planning a return to the big screen for his film Horizon: An American Saga, which hit screens this summer to mediocre appeal. When pitching the concept for Yellowstone, Costner referred to it as a one-shot movie. It was closer to a film than a TV show for him. The ball for this project kept on rolling, and eventually it was agreed that a TV show would be the best way to promote Yellowstone. Costner and Sheridan then developed a television series instead of a movie. Sheridan and Costner were the only 2 people committed to the show from the ground up. Their loyalty to Yellowstone cannot be doubted. These 2 are why Yellowstone has been such a hit show for so long. They managed to work out their differences over the years, and that has resulted in such a fine reception for the show. Despite misunderstandings, the 2 were always okay and things would turn out fine. Costner was quoted as having agreed to take up more scenes to prolong his stay on the show. On all the occasions that his allegiance to the show has been tested, Costner has always defended it. What was to have spanned 3 seasons was increased to 5, which shows how committed Costner was to the show. Costner was also tied to the series up to the 5th season, but in the meantime, no one was available to offer any updates on the production schedule. Here, rumors began filtering in about Costner's ego being responsible for the situation. It goes without saying that Costner was frustrated at the lack of people coming up to stick up for him. He said that nobody was on his side. Nobody came up to defend what he did for them during their time of need. People failed to appreciate what Costner brought to the table, and as anyone else would feel, he too felt underappreciated. Nevertheless, Costner put all that to the side and applauded the show's writing. He liked what Taylor was doing. He explained that he knows the world of contemporary writing, yet in spite of all this, he was still able to create all this drama in Yellowstone which people enjoyed. Costner also considered coming back for the final season of the show, but as we know, that didn't happen. As much as Costner loved Yellowstone, some things are just based on business, and you can't take them personally. Perhaps Sheridan and Costner didn't deal with their situation well enough, which elevated and turned even more sour, according to the media. Costner and Sheridan's situation. Speaking of struggling, Costner and Sheridan's relationship from both ends has been pretty cold since the beginning of 2024. Like Costner, Sheridan is known in the industry as someone who religiously sticks to his creative schedule. If there are any delays or drawbacks, Sheridan doesn't like it. After what Costner did, the last thing he should be expecting from Sheridan is to ask him to come back on the show. With the scripts already finalized, making changes in the story at the 11th hour would have messed up the arc of the supporting cast. The cast includes some pretty talented names like Kelly Riley and Wes Bentley. On the other hand, Sheridan has been as cool as a cucumber throughout the entire situation. Even though Sheridan was quiet when Costner departed from the show, he let his feelings be known about what went down. Sheridan told the public that Kevin Costner's image as an actor hasn't changed in his eyes. The key word here is actor. An actor and a person are 2 different people. Isn't that right, Mr. Costner? Nevertheless, in the past, Sheridan said that the 2 have never had any major problems, but when lawyers start to become part of a situation and say things on others' behalf, that is when things get messy. Even the press or public doesn't spare a chance to exaggerate any news they get. Costner has played the central character Tate Dutton for 5 seasons on Taylor Sheridan's Yellowstone, but as soon as his personal project of Horizon came into the picture, his Yellowstone focus somewhat shifted. From that point on, Dutton's character in Yellowstone had a huge question mark looming over his head. Sheridan ended his statement by saying he doesn't know anyone who deserves the kind of treatment Costner has received. Sheridan also voiced his support for Horizon and hoped that it would succeed. Even acclaimed writer Stephen King spoke out in Horizon's defense during its release. King took to X formerly known as Twitter, to say that his reaction to Horizon was pretty much expected. After all, why would anyone hype up a film that isn't under the banner of the Marvel Universe? Now, that's a pretty strong statement from a critically acclaimed writer. Everyone from the fans to filmmakers in the industry knows how difficult it was for Costner to greenlight this project. He spent $38 million of his own money to bring this to life, but since it isn't a Marvel project, the noise around it will probably fade very soon. Although the first part didn't work out, we really hope that future sequels have much more life in them. Stepping away from Costner and speaking about the character John Dutton himself, Sheridan said that although it doesn't alter the character's fate, it shortens his screen time. That being said, the story is in the hands of Sheridan, and not even Costner can do anything about it. That's right, rumor has it that Sheridan shot down Costner when he tried to modify some elements of Yellowstone during the early seasons of the show. Sheridan said that it would be better if he stuck to acting. Saying something like that to Kevin Costner? Not everyone can do that. When Sheridan implicitly challenged Costner's approach, they started to argue slightly. Sheridan believes that if two people talk to each other, they can resolve their dispute. But in general, things didn't really end on a positive note for these two. Sheridan did, though, sum up the conversation with a certain amount of finesse. He wished Costner and Horizon all the luck in the world before it was released. However, Sheridan never planned to have John Dutton reach the end by whatever means he had in mind. Sheridan said he was let down by the fact that it hurt the character's ending. The book's conclusion remains unchanged. As for John Dutton's storyline, Sheridan tried to convince Costner to shoot several scenes to finish the character's arc. It is not known whether that happened in the background. Costner and Sheridan have been the driving forces behind the series from day one. Their dedication and vision are largely responsible for the show's widespread success. Even though occasional disagreements did take place, the two always figured out a way to make things work. Costner has also told how his involvement in Yellowstone turned out to be much more than he had hoped. His original plan was to stay for 3 seasons, but due to his love for the show, he couldn't help but extend his stay. Diverging away from the lead a little, let us talk about the other cast members and how they accepted that the show was coming to an end. Hold your tissues close, because this might tear you up. Jennifer Landon shares emotional post. As the show came to a close this year, fans of the show got really attached to the entire cast, and it showed. Fans heard their stars post about the show as season 5 premiered 2 months ago. Jennifer Landon, who portrays the character of a ranch hand, Teeter, could not remain calm as she posted her goodbye message to her followers through her social media. She posted a blurry selfie capturing her final moments on set, accompanied by a caption that read, "Here's a blurry selfie of me leaving set on my last day of the last season of Yellowstone. Mound of paper towels for all the feelings. It was an incredible ride. Hashtag Yellowstone, hashtag Yellowstone TV, hashtag Teeter, hashtag time to buy a horse for real." Landon's mention of it being her last day on the set of Yellowstone is interesting, because does it mean Yellowstone is finally coming to an end, or will she play a role in the upcoming sequels? Or do we, as fans, stop believing in a 6th season? However, it is perhaps the right time to jog our memories that a 6th season was never confirmed. It was also heard that Kelly Riley and Cole Hauser would be the ones leading the show forward if there ever was a season 6 in the work. Kelly Riley's response to Landon. Speaking of Riley, she was also quick to reply to Landon's social media post with equal emotion. This raised the eyebrows of fans and critics alike when she said, "I loved our scenes this year more than I can say. You are just the most amazing actor and human, Jen. Now get that horse and come find me. XX." Now we can take a look at this from 2 different angles. The way Riley says it, it definitely feels like a goodbye. While she doesn't say that Beth and Teeter won't return, the comment, "Now get that horse and come find me," does ring the bells of a nostalgic farewell. Both co-stars and actresses have consistently supported each other on social media for some time now. So while the emotional tone definitely hints at the end of the show, they're still pretty good friends, all things considered. To all the fans listening, please take these interactions with a pinch of salt. In the last few months, several members of the Yellowstone cast have taken to social media platforms to share their farewells. These posts have stirred up a large chunk of excitement among their fans. Therefore, more or less, it's pretty clear that the show is coming to a close. Kelsey Asby, Monica Dutton. Monica Dutton, played by Kelsey Asby, wrote her fans a particularly touching and mysterious note. She took to social media and uploaded a picture on August 16th that seemed to show her leaving the well-known Dutton Ranch scene by car. "To all our Y family past and present, I love you forever," she captioned the photo. Despite her short stay on the show, her remarks seem to be an emotional farewell to the entire Yellowstone family, which has expanded over the years. Asby pays tribute to her fellow cast members and the team she has collaborated with throughout the series, and her post seems to be a personal reflection on the trip she she has had while playing Monica. Brecken Merrill, Tate Dutton. The Yellowstone official account on Twitter also shared the news about the final appearance of Brecken Merrill, who has been playing Tate Dutton since the series premiered. Merrill, too, confirmed this on August 9th with his own farewell message. "We had a good long run of it. That's a series wrap for Tate on Yellowstone. Love you guys." Merrill, being one of the youngsters in the cast, has grown alongside the show, and his exit is a phase that has come full circle. Wendy Monz, Governor Linnell Perry. Wendy Monz, who has portrayed Governor Linnell Perry since 2017, also used social media to reflect on her final days working on the series. In August, she announced, "Series wrap for me on Yellowstone, and been having all the feels. Sentimental, proud, grateful, to name a few." Monz's post wasn't short on humility. It was a message that marked her end on the show, and she also highlighted the gratitude she has for being a part of the Yellowstone family. As she felt pride, she recounted how she felt during the years in which she starred in the show, saying it was a beautiful experience. Ian Bowen, Ryan. Ian Bowen, who portrayed Ryan, left a clue about his departure from the series through a photo posted from Amarillo with the hashtag 829. Although he did not come right out and say goodbye to the show, the inference was loud and clear that his time on the show was done. Yellowstone has not revealed Ryan's fate, but Bowen has been a part of the show's story, and although his role may not have been as flashy as some of the others, fans were left to speculate about his role as well. All these posts just go to show how closely that cast was knit together with each other, and not only does all of this bring a television show to an end, but to a legacy that will live on for years to come. Grimes' statement on Costner. Of course, we're not going to spoil what happened to Costner's character in the season finale, but one co-star of Costner's in particular didn't have the best time with him. Only last week after the finale aired, here's what Costner said about the finale. "I'm not thinking about the Yellowstone finale. I don't think I've given it any thoughts. We'll just let it go." The Oscar recipient was also questioned about his alleged feud with actor Luke Grimes, to which Costner said that he wasn't in contact with him ever since the finale aired. Ever since the show ended, Grimes has been quite vocal about Costner's departure to Yellowstone. He said that things have been much smoother when Costner hasn't been present on set. "Hopefully everyone can see that it was time," Luke said of Kevin departing from the neo-Western drama. "To be really honest, there was a part of Kevin being gone that meant some of the conflict was gone." He continued, "Obviously, it didn't make it super fun to be around. Not pointing any fingers, but it was actually the easiest season we filmed." But after that, Grimes was immediately questioned whether he's still in contact with Costner, to which Grimes replied, "No, I haven't talked to him since. It's not a case of any hard feelings or anything. It's just, he's Kevin Costner," he said with a laugh. Whether that implies that Grimes doesn't care about Costner that much, or there's still some discord between the two, is not known. Grimes also added, "He's a big deal. I do have his phone number. I just don't feel like it's my place to reach out. He can reach out to me if he wants," Luke continued. As per Grimes, none of them saw it coming, and even though there was news about possible blow-ups behind the scenes, none of them predicted anything concrete until it actually arrived. Grimes said that these things happen. They happen fast, and they're not predictable at all. Grimes then talks about his father, saying that he lost him a few years back, and it's not the way that you would think it would have happened. These things just happen, and soon after, people have to start making decisions. All things aside, let's not forget that last year wasn't easy for Costner. He went through a divorce and has had to pay huge sums of money to lawyers and child support. However, Costner's determination made him stand tall. So many people would stop working if things like these were happening in their personal lives. But not Costner. Every single day, he realized that he was in the middle of a legal divorce battle, which caused him to keep on losing money like crazy. Costner and his wife of 20 years, Christine Baumgartner, announced their divorce last summer. Soon after, a legal battle ensued, which was finalized earlier this year. Costner was devastated after it happened because he truly loved his family. However, ex-lovers became bitter enemies when they went to the courtroom, where apparently the disagreement between the two was child support payments. Seeing Costner go through all this while working on his projects of Yellowstone and Horizon would be a bummer for anyone. Thankfully, it's over now, and Costner can focus on his career once again. So now let us shift back to Costner's role in the show. What exactly happened with John Dutton in the Yellowstone finale? John Dutton's fate in Yellowstone. The Yellowstone finale showed that Costner's character, John Dutton, was killed on the show by a faked suicide. Dutton was killed in the first few minutes of the finale, with the show wasting absolutely no time in telling the audience that he had died by suicide by gunshot. Luke Grimes revealed that the plan was always to have John die. For the story to pick up pace, it was necessary that John was killed, but they couldn't do it early on in the show. And why wasn't it possible? It's because Costner's character was so brilliantly portrayed that he just had to be kept until the last season. Had John been killed earlier on in the show, the backlash from fans would have been way too much to take for Sheridan. Grimes said in an interview, he admitted there's been some negative reactions to Dutton Dutton's death, which was first revealed as a suicide, which most fans didn't agree with, and later revealed as a hit performed by a company specializing in making homicides look like deaths by other means, namely accidents or suicides. I think they feel sort of cheated, and what I would say to that is, I think we were all lucky to have Kevin on the show as long as we did, Luke said. I think originally he was supposed to die much earlier, so in a way, they got way more of John Dutton than they were going to originally get. I would keep that in mind, Luke added. If it happened in such a shocking, quick way, that's how life works, right? I mean, when you lose people, it's sometimes not how you planned and not when you think it's going to be, he continued. As told earlier, Sheridan and Costner both thought of it as a movie at first, but when the writing started and ideas started coming together, the best approach was to turn the script into a show instead of a single movie. And didn't that decision turn out to be a good one? Speaking of, what's next for the Yellowstone universe now that the main show has come to an end? Future of Yellowstone universe. It seems that the Yellowstone universe will continue without Costner, but there just might be a new sheriff in town. The critically acclaimed show universe is set to star none other than the very talented Michelle Pfeiffer. The Oscar-nominated actress is currently 66 years old and will play a big part in the expansion of the franchise. She is set to act in and produce a new spin-off series called The Madison, which was recently commissioned by MTV Entertainment Studios and 101 Studios. With the first title, 2024, which was later changed to The Madison, fans began to speculate what the show would be about. It is said to be a touching portrait of mourning and people's bond. The movie revolves around a family from New York City who tries to live in the Madison River Valley of central Montana. Unlike the earlier spin-offs, The Madison will be based on the present rather than the past. This new series will see the same showrunner as Yellowstone, Taylor Sheridan. This will make sure that it feels like it's set in the Yellowstone world, and nobody can do that better than Sheridan. This upcoming series is the latest in the Yellowstone franchise, and there have been other spin-offs to this series. These are 1883, which explores the background of the Dutton family, and 1923, which depicts the Dutton family in the early 20th century. Seeing Michelle Pfeiffer joining the cast is exciting. She is famous for her ability to execute her characters with the highest passion and realism. Wouldn't we all like to see her at the top of her game in The Madison? Her partnership with Taylor Sheridan will be interesting to see. We can only hope that The Madison lives up to the hype that it's being set to. With the first Yellowstone series closing, the universe that Taylor Sheridan created is just getting warmed up. However, Yellowstone's ending only leads to the beginning of a much greater exploration of the world, of the Duttons in particular. There are already several spin-offs planned apart from The Madison, and all of them are reported to further delve into the history, the society, and the wars that are a part of the Yellowstone universe. Diving into this family's rich history will be like entering a time capsule. To date, the most popular expansion likely is 1923, as it is a prequel series that started with love from the audience. This is a film version of the novel by Philip K. Dick, which is placed in the early 20th century to demonstrate the attempts of the Duttons to start a ranching enterprise. Set in the post-World War I American Prohibition era and the Great Depression, the series dives into the history of the Duttons. The reason 1923 has become a commercial success is because of the time period it is set in. The series is now shooting its second season, which will also be its final one. Sheridan didn't have extended plans for this show beyond the second season anyway. Another project set in the universe of Yellowstone is 1883, which further shifts the story and presents the audience with the beginning of the Dutton saga. This series, which started and was met with so much acclaim, chronicles the life of James and Margaret Dutton, played by Grammy winners Tim McGraw and Faith Hill, who are set for a perilous journey to the frontier. What 1883 does is that it draws the true-to-the-show basic format of what the life of a group of people who sought their fortune in the frontier means and how the Duttons staked out their claim in Montana. The series has been applauded for the raw portrayal of the storyline, emotions, and a great plot, which gives the viewers a brief introduction to the Dutton family. In this way, the Yellowstone universe expands and fans enjoy more content, characters, and historical settings after the show. Win-win for everyone. Do you think Dutton should have had a better end in Yellowstone? Let us know in the comments.